TV Spotlight. The Little Vampire 1985. The Little Vampire series was made and broadcast in 1985 as a German and Canadian co-production. It was based on the famous series of children's books by German author Angela Sommer Bodenberg. In the UK it was shown on ITV, where I, as a young lad, saw it and fell in love with it. It is fair to say that The Little Vampire was one of my premier childhood TV obsessions, along with the likes of Robin of Sherwood, V and Soap. I was so obsessed I got 4 of the books, though to be honest I always preferred the television series. However, after that it basically disappeared from existence, or seemed to, as far as I was concerned anyway. By the late 90s and early 2000s it seemed so forgotten that the only evidence I had of its existence was the cover of the original book, which featured several of the television cast. I remembered that Michael Gough was in it as head of the vampire family, as I had squealed Uncle Ludwig in delight when watching Batman in 1989, and yet at that time I couldn't even find the series listed as one of his credits on the internet. Happily in 2009 that all changed. The series was released on DVD, albeit only in Germany, and I paid the quite ridiculously exorbitant price of $100 including shipping to see it again. But I was glad I did, and I have never regretted it. I have watched the series several times since, and it is one show that lives up to my childhood memory of it and which I still love. There is much to enjoy about The Little Vampire. The music, from the fantastic title song to the terrific incidental music, is consistently brilliant, and the show is hugely atmospheric. The cast are all also largely excellent. The series is focused on its child characters, of course, so it would all fall apart if they weren't up to the task. Happily they are, with Joel Dax as Rediger and Marcia Morrow as Anna, the little vampire, and his sister, being absolute standouts. They are both entirely credible in the roles and hugely likable. Dax is particularly good at making Rediger both likable and charismatic while vaguely dangerous at the same time, and Morrow does much the same thing, belying her age by making Anna an adorably sweet little girl, yet one who is nonetheless vaguely sinister, particularly given that it is hugely obvious that her crush on Anton makes her really want to turn him into a vampire. Christopher Stanton as the human friend of the twosome, Anton, is perhaps not quite up to the standards of Dax and Morrow, but is by no means a weak link either. He has a slightly awkward quality to him which actually works well with the slightly awkward, somewhat nerdy character he's playing, but is nonetheless tremendously likable and convincing in the role. The only cast member I have a slight member is, rather oddly and sadly, is Gert Frobe as Jeremiah, the vampire hunter. It's probable that the character was made something of a caricature cartoon to avoid making him too scary for a kids' show, but nonetheless Frobe is well over the top at times and does seem to be obviously aware that he's acting in a children's show. This is not the case with the wonderful Michael Gough, who is pure class as Uncle Ludwig, elegant, stately, melancholy, and again with a slight air of menace. Gough is excellent in the part. I am aware that there was a sort of semi-sequel series in the early 90s, albeit with an entirely different cast, even the adults, which hardly counts as a sequel in my book, and a movie in the early OOS. Neither really interests me. This is the definitive version to me, and always will be, and I remain a big fan of this show. It is one of the few programs that really makes me feel like a kid again when I watch it, and still draws me in every time.